What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the brand new Sugofest batch that's going to be debuting after the Korean maintenance, which is going to be with the VIVI Rebecca and SHIRAHOSHI Mansheri. So this is one of the options that I thought was going to happen. It was going to be this, or it was going to be a global first character, and because we are getting this, obviously it would mean at this point that I don't think a global first character is coming to the game with this Sugofest, or the Welcome to Korea Sugofest. This Sugofest is going to be debuting as soon as the maintenance finishes for the Korean merger, and I believe it said that it's going to be ending May 5th. I'm going to be uploading a separate video a little bit later on, after this video goes live, talking about the actual Sugofest, giving my thoughts and opinions, comparing and contrasting it, deciding whether or not if it's a good Sugofest or not. It's just kind of average, just me giving my point out right now, but we'll go through more details in the other video. But in this video today, I'm going to be going through all the brand new Sugofest batch characters, including the two new free-to-play characters as well. So let's start off with these characters. The first off is going to be Kobe, and obviously massive shout out to Solaris and the team at, well, just creating the One Piece Treasure Cruise database. Obviously, link to this will be down below in the video description. So Kobe and Hina are both free-to-play characters within this event. This banner is actually live in game right now. You can go check out the free-to-play banner, and it's an event where you have to farm using point boosters. Essentially, it's the way that it works. So with Kobe, he is a Dex fighter. Cerebral Captain effect is pretty bad. He can't be blown away, which is actually pretty good. 13 turn cooldown, recovers 5000 HP, reduces Bind and Despair by 3, and a Rainbow 1.75 times attack booster. This is actually like pretty good. That's actually like not terrible at all. He's got critical hit. He's got the recovery bind. Does he have a support effect? It's just a stat boost. Okay, he's actually not terrible. A fighter Cerebral, Rainbow attack boost. He's got utility. If he had double special activation, this unit would be actually bonkers crazy good. But for a free-to-play character that's coming out, honestly not too bad. The other one is going to be Hina, also a free-to-play unit. By the way, this Hina is an ambush quest, and from a lot of people on JP's perspective, they think that this is a really, really difficult piece of content. I haven't honestly looked at what this content does, but I know a lot of people say that this is a really, really tricky piece of content. So for Hina is a quick Cerebral striker. Captain effect is a 3 times boost to Cerebral, reduces own cooldown by 2 turns when it's rewinded. That's pretty nice. And on a 14 turn cooldown, delays all enemies for 1 turn, gives all characters a 1.75 orb boost. That's really nice. And changes empty, block, bomb, recovery, tandem, and G orbs into matching. Holy. Okay, looking pretty good so far. If there is more than 5000 excess healing done when the special is activated, reduces the cooldown of all characters by 1, and lock orbs for 2 turns. Otherwise, lock orbs for 1 turn. Interesting. More than 5000 excess healing. So this is kind of going into the legend, because legend SHIRAHOSHI MANSHERRY allows you to do overhealing. Now, I don't know if this means that you have to do like overhealing specifically, or it's like as long as you're at full HP and you've healed, you know, and you've healed at full HP and it's gone over 5000, then you'd be able to get this effect. I think that's probably what it means. And because this is like an effect depending on what you do, I think if the enemy activates the remove accumulate values, it actually will remove this effect. So if you've done it before, it'll actually remove this part of the special until you do it again. But overall, it is actually a really, really nice special there. Slot bind, pinch healing, and not a very useful support effect, unfortunately. But this Hina, I mean, artwork is looking immaculate, and her special and her sailor effect are all really good. So I'm a big fan of these units so far. Kobe and Hina are really strong. Now we move on to the Sugofest batch. We've got Leo as one of the other rare recruits. So Leo is a Dex unit. He's a Dex Free Spirit Cerebral, and his captain effect is 3 times to Free Spirit, 10% damage reduction. Reduces own cooldown completely when it's reversed. That's useful. 10 turn cooldown, reduces increased defense by 5, so it's blue shield, and reduces chain lock by 7. Okay, that's pretty nice. And if there is more than 10,000 excess healing when you've launched the special, reduces the cooldown of your top row by 3 turns, and reduces special cooldown of your top row by 1 turn otherwise. Okay, this is okay, I guess. 10,000 excess healing. That's a lot. That's really, really hard to achieve, I think. I mean, unless if you're using these new batch characters together, I don't see this character seeing much play outside of the new batch. This is unfortunate because, you know, typically, like, you know, Rare Recruit King that just came out with Kaido versus Big Mom, his special's good in so many different teams, and this is a special that you're probably not going to use on a lot of teams, and the fact that the cooldown only affects your top row, that's pretty bad. If it affected all characters on your team, this unit would actually be bonkers good, but the fact that it only affects your top row, man, that's such a downer, man. Such a letdown. Quick damage reduction and recovery bind by 7, okay, and attaches to Menshiri and Usopp. When flees special rewind, reduces the cooldown of the supported character by 2 turns. That's okay. That's actually not terrible at all. That could definitely see play in a couple of instances. So that's fine, but the special, a little underwhelming for my liking, unfortunately. Does it actually have the Pirate Rumble stuff here as well? Okay, no, it does not. Okay, but either way, I'm not a big fan of Leo, but let's move on to Neptune. So Neptune is a quick cerebral free spirit as well. Really cool artwork, actually. I like that Ho is in the background. That's really, really cool. Then we've got a Cerebral Captain 3 times, 1.2 health, and cannot be blown away. Recovers 5,000 HP at the end of the turn for 5 turns. So that's useful. You can use that special ability to allow you to get that overhealing a lot easier. And then reduces Rainbow Shield by 5 turns. So you got Leo to remove Blue Shield. This guy removes Rainbow Shield and reduces Chain Coefficient reduction by 7. So Leo removes Chain Lock. This guy removes Chain Coefficient reduction, and then boosts the color affinity of Striker, Cerebral, and Free Spirit by 1.75 for 3 turns. You know what's kind of weird though is we had the batch a little earlier on in the year, the V3 Boa batch, and that released that special Rebecca character. The Summer Rebecca, and she's just a straight up 1.75 to all characters color affinity for 3 turns, and then also did special bind removal and did something else. Whereas this guy, he's just like a worse version of Rebecca in a lot of instances. Like it's a bit different in the fact that, like, yeah, he removes Rainbow Shield, he gives you healing, and he gets rid of this. But, like, I feel like Rebecca is just a much better unit in terms of the utility she provides, and the color affinity is just a straight-up upgrade compared to this unit. Striker, Cerebral, and Free Spirit specifically will only get the color affinity for 3 turns. Look, 1.75 for 3 turns is nothing to scoff at, but the fact that it is restricted when we literally had a Rare Recruit character that came out earlier this year, there was a rainbow color affinity, doesn't sit right with me. I just think that's really, really bizarre. But 12-turn cooldown for what he does is actually pretty acceptable in my eyes. He's got a recovery bind by 7, 5% strength damage reduction, attaches to Shirahoshi, Fukaboshi, Ryuboshi, Manboshi, and also Jinbei. Okay. Okay, you just get rid of 3 turns of chain coefficient reduction. That's not that useful because chain coefficient reduction is a lot easier to get around because you can just use a chain locker to negate the effect of this. Whereas if this removed chain lock by 3 turns, this would be a lot more useful. So that's a little unfortunate. So man, these rare recruits are a little bit of a letdown. I'm not a big fan of the Leo and the Neptune. I just don't see too many instances where you would hardcore need to use these units aside from this new content that's about to release, right? But let's move on to the Sugro exclusives. Let's start off with Shirahoshi Mansheri. So this is her unevolved artwork right here, looking kind of nice. And then the evolved artwork, when if you do pull them on their debut, they come with the Ink Level 2 artwork, which is good. But Shirahoshi Mansheri, every time you switch, they're always considered Cerebrals and Striker. They are a quick unit. So I think Shirahoshi's quick and Mansheri is a Psi unit, I want to say. Then they've got their Captain effect. So you've got Shirahoshi Captain effect, which boosts the attack of Striker Cerebral, proportional to the crew's current HP, 3.75 times at max HP. And I'm not too sure how it works, but I think if you're at 1 HP, you get no boost. I think that's how it works. And they also get a 1.2 health boost, recover 0.5 every time you hit a perfect, 0.75 every time you hit a great, and 1 times their recovery every time you hit a good, and allows you to overheal. So very similar to Luffy and Sanji's Captain effect, that give you the ability to get essentially another health bar, is what it is, right? It essentially doubles your max HP, so it's pretty good. And then you've got the Menshiri Captain effect, which is Striker Cerebral 3.75. I think it's the exact same Captain effect. It looks the exact same. I might be missing something here. Please let me know if I am. But it looks to be the exact same Captain effect word for word. So switching between them, you get no difference. But let's have a look at their dual Captain effect. It's up to a 4.5 times at max. And the same, it's 1.2 health, 1 times for every perfect, 1.5 for every great, and 2 times for every good. So it's just a higher HP, or higher damage, basically. Higher damage, 4.5 times attack, and higher recovery values is just the difference in the Captain effect. I don't think this Captain effect is that great. It's definitely not a Captain effect that I'm going to use that much at all. But still, you know, you got to talk about it as a captain, right? It's not that useful, especially if like if it like 1 HP, you literally get no boost. But it does also mean that the fact that they do provide overhealing means that so long as you're in that second health bar, you're always going to get the max cap of damage. But it means that once you start falling below into that first health bar, then yeah, you're going to be losing out on a lot of your damage there. And plus, it's a dual unit, right? So you're getting this a lot of the time. And if you do lose a lot of health until you use their special, you're going to be having a really, really low amount of damage. So I would say hybriding up this character with something else is probably the way to go. Let's move on to the Sailor effects. So it's just stat boosting and also makes strength orbs beneficial to all characters. That's pretty useful. That's actually a really, really useful Sailor effect. That's really, really good. And their swap effect allows you to overheal 2 times their max HP for 1 turn, reduces slot bind, special bind, bind, and despair by 1 turn, and recover 1500 HP. So this is great because as a sub, you can use their switch effect to get access to the overhealing mechanic, and then you can then start overhealing for that turn as well as healing with their special. So speaking of their special, on a 13 turn cooldown, removing paralysis, poison, recovery down, and blindness completely. That's pretty nice. Completely removing paralysis on your crew is ridiculously good. Poison is okay, recovery down is kind of nice too, and then blindness. And then it says it also reduces burn and despair by 7 turns, so that's again a pretty nice piece of utility. And then changes all slots into rainbow. Unfortunately, it doesn't get rid of block orbs, so you still have to try and find a way around block orbs, but then once you get rid of those block orbs, you can just change all your orbs into rainbow, so that's really nice. And then adds 1.2 to the chain multiplier for 1 turn, so that's why those rare recruits are kind of useful, because there's a chain boosting effect. So you can have, you know, Neptune to get rid of the chain coefficient reduction. You've got Leo to get rid of the chain lock. So once those chain debuffs are out of the way, you can have... This is the highest chain multiplier boost in the game, by the way. There is no other character that is a 1.2 chain boost, and the only thing else that's as close to this is like a 1.1 from like Legend Cracker or Limited Rare Recruit Caesar, I think, on the second turn of his effect, is a 1.1 chain booster. So yeah, as it stands, this is currently the highest chain boost in the game, which is ridiculous, and actually works very well with the new Vivi and Rebecca because of their switch effect, which gives you like the chain multiplicator buff, which can stack very well on top of this. So you get all of these effects, and then obviously 50 times their recovery is healed, and you fuse for 3 turns. This is a really, really good special, and a lot of people's opinions, this is arguably one of the best specials in the game in terms of usability as a sub. Great usability for great utility, orb change, chain boost, and really great healing as well. And the fact this character is a quick and a psi unit, this unit is going to be pretty useful to use on GARP challenges, like the 10-star difficulty ones, actually really good on the 13-star difficulty ones as well, and a really low cooldown. Like after expansion going down to 13 turns, that's actually really freaking useful, dude. Really, really good. And as for the other effects, they get 5 turns of slot bind reduction. They actually have hunger, and they remove 3 of it, which is useful. And then also 10 turns of recovery bind. Unfortunately, though, hunger tablets are still very, very difficult to come across. So that is going to be a continuous effort to try and get those hunger tablets. But I mean, across the board, I think the captain effect is a little underwhelming, but definitely usable in cases. Great crewmate effect, amazing swap effect, because it means that as a sub, you can get access to overhealing on any team, which is great. Obviously, Luffy and Sanji did that as well, but the fact is that, you know, their special doesn't really provide that much healing in comparison to something like this. And plus you get all these other utility and chain boosting effects and rainbow orbs. It's good, it's good, it's really, really good. But now we can talk about the next character. So I think this character's okay, and honestly, I think it's probably the character or the part of the Sugo Fest that I'm going to be pulling for, because I do think this character will be more useful moving forward compared to Vivi and Rebecca. But don't get it twisted, Vivi and Rebecca are still very, very strong. So let's talk about them. So this is their unevolved artwork. It looks okay, and then we'll move on to Vivi and Rebecca, their evolved artwork, which actually looks really good. I'm actually a big fan of this artwork. So this character is considered Striker Cerebral all the way through, which is good. Vivi is quick, and Rebecca is a Dex unit. And their captain effect, this is Vivi's captain effect, boost the attack of Striker Cerebral by 3.25, 1.3 health. They give color affinity. So it's very similar to the version 1 Vivi Rebecca, where they give you a very weird attack boost and they give you a color affinity boost. But it's a lot better than the original Vivi Rebecca because they were so centered around making sure you have color affinity that the base attack boost was really, really bad. So at least this time around, they give you a really, I mean, I wouldn't say it's a good attack boost, but it's a higher attack boost and a lower color affinity, which is definitely the better way to do it. They also make quick rolls beneficial to Striker Cerebral, and they reduce the chances of you landing on a tandem and recovery slot. But because of that, they give you 2,000 healing at the end of the turn. So this is great. The fact that this is a Cerebral unit, you can use the Liberal Hind with it to get an additional 1,000 heal per turn, plus 1,000 heal per turn from your sockets. So just with one of these captains, plus the ship, plus the auto heal, 4,000 HP recovered per turn. And if you run double Vivi Rebecca, that's 6,000 HP per turn, guaranteed recovery. That is absurd. Absolutely absurd. And then you move on to Rebecca, who is essentially the same captain, but instead of making quick orbs beneficial, she makes dex orbs beneficial. And in their dual form, they're a 4 times captain with the 1.3 affinity. All type slots are going to be counted as beneficial to Striker Cerebral. And again, tandem recovery will not appear as much, and 4,000 HP recovered per turn. So again, lots of healing, lots of damage. As long as you're attacking with type advantage, this is going to be doing crazy amounts of damage, which is great. Moving on to their sailor effects, they make quick and dex beneficial to both Striker and Cerebral. That's a very useful sailor effect to have, for sure. Now, their swap effect is very good because it removes all special bind on themselves and recovers 1,500 HP. Again, these two dual units having really good switch effects for healing mechanics is great. And then it gives you the chain multiplicator boost, 1.25 for 1 turn, which is akin to, you know, Sanji Judge with their switch effect, giving you that chain multiplicator boost. I think Super Type Sabo also has that with his Super Type special, giving you the chain multiplicator boost on top. So it's a really, really good effect because this stacks very well with other chain boosters, such as Shirahoshi and Mansheri. Now, their special ability, 12 turn cooldown, reduces bind and special bind by 6, and again, because they completely resist it when you use their switch effect, it's really good because if the enemy inflicts you with a fear debuff, typically for a special bind remover, that's going to be a problem because their sailor effect typically resists special bind, but this unit doesn't have that. They just use the switch effect. So no matter what, as long as you can activate the switch of this unit, you can get rid of their special bind, use their special to remove the special bind, and also bind on top of that, give your Striker and Cerebral characters a 2 times attack and a 2 times orb boost for 1 turn, and then they fuse for 3 turns. So this unit is definitely more offensively based compared to the other characters that we've seen previously, but either way, this unit is really strong because of the Striker and Cerebral support and pretty decent utility as well. So if you stack this on top of the Shirahoshi Mansheri that had just come out as well, you've got some great utility removal and some really good damage potential as well. As for their potential abilities, they have the remove recovery bind by 5. They also have a hunger, so if you do pull these units, you know, maxing their hunger is going to be quite difficult, and slot bind by 10 turns. You know, I really wish a lot of these characters that actually had slot bind actually removed it, because a lot of characters that have slot bind, they don't actually actively remove it. They only remove like 7 or 10 turns. So, you know, usually that is more than enough, but sometimes you really wish you could just remove it completely. But that's Vivi and Rebecca for you. That is the breakdown of the brand new Sugafest batch. I don't think this batch is like the most god tier batch ever to release, and I've already made a video a couple of days ago talking about all the upcoming Sugafest banners that we have to look forward to. If you guys didn't check out that video, I'll probably leave a card at the top of the video. Make sure to check that out because this will give you guys a little bit more insight as to what is coming in the future. And honestly, looking at this, like, yeah, it's a new Sugafest batch. These characters are somewhat popular. I don't think this is a banner that you should probably be spending on unless if you really, really love these characters, or you've got like a really cool team plan and you really want to get one of these characters. The banner itself I'll be talking about in a separate video uploaded later on, so make sure to go ahead and stay tuned to the channel. So if you guys did enjoy this video today, make sure to go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all of the content that I post on my channel, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But on that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.